Ignore any advice that doesn't feel right to you. I tend to do that generally. And go with the flow. I think go with the flow I may need to write on a post-it.
The Graham Norton Radio Show
on Virgin Radio.
Right, lads, I'm going to rip off the plaster. I feel like this is the only way to do it. I know I've kind of talked about it, but I am officially part of the 2023 Strictly cast. It makes my stomach lurch a bit, which I've been told is relatively normal. But honestly, I'm starting to panic a little bit now that it's becoming real. At the beginning of this year, like, there's motivation. It's not like it's happened to me. I'm very involved in the process and getting to this point. I said, you know what, to anyone who'd listen, the universe, whatever, surprise me. Give me something, throw something at me. And I mean, she delivered, right? So I'm trying to be lo-fi about it, kind of, you know, understated about the whole thing, because I think if I go the other way, it'll, you know, feed my panic slightly. It seems when it comes to this show, lo-fi is not an option, and everybody has ideas and opinions and advice. And I'm fine with unsolicited advice, generally, unless it makes me, you know, feel slightly ill. Yesterday morning, taxi man was like, "What's the story? Have you started training?" I was like, no, not until next week. He's like, "What are you doing? You've wasted an opportunity." I mean, full on. I was like, "Baby, you should be an agent, because this is a level of," I mean, it was frightening. But people have ideas. They've watched the show for 20 years now. They know what works and what doesn't work. So, should I be practicing? What should I be eating? Do I tan my legs? I kind of thought I'd made a decision, but then I put it up on Instagram and it was quite divisive. Giovanna Fletcher was in yesterday, and Tom, her hubby, did it a few years ago, and she said, you know what, the competition is fun. Ish. But remember, it's an entertainment show, so I'm keeping that at the forefront of my mind, but I'm also a bit competitive, so I've got to temper that. So basically, apart from me begging for your votes, which I will be, I'm sure, in due course, tips, that's what I want. What should I or shouldn't I be doing? Maybe you're a doctor. What should I be eating? Nutritionist, is that a thing? Is an apple enough? Does it need a bit of protein stuck onto the top of it? Quotes, maybe, that I should, you know, live by? Motivation? Basically anything. I'll take whatever you've got. Throw it at me. Quick, help! Dan from Farnham, it's quite sensible. Ignore any advice that doesn't feel right to you. I tend to do that generally. And go with the flow. I think go with the flow I may need to write on a post-it. Yeah, you kind of just, who knows what happens, right? This one from Johnny from Poole. A banana for breakfast every morning. Had one today in my smoothie. I'm usually not a banana woman, but hey, they're good for you, right? I always have one before my daily run, he says, and then a proper breakfast after. Noted. I'd advise meditation, says Amy in Sheffield. I think this is very wise, Amy. You'll have such an adrenaline rush in the swings of it all, I reckon, so make sure you're making the time to relax. This is possibly the issue, because I feel like I get up there and then it comes all crashing down on me, so I've just got to be a bit level, right? Mid-practice, maybe I put on the Calm app. Have a little nap, do a bit of deep breathing. What's the guy? Nigel Harman is one of my fellow contestants, and he's called the Meditating Actor on Instagram. So I feel like he might be teaching us all how to actually breathe. Bella, buy a glass foot file. Oh, this sounds a bit Cinderella. Your poor feet will be sore. I bet they will. So give them some pampering. Yeah. That's absolutely happening. Compede. Sponsored by Compede, I suspect. Plaster's coming out my ears.